Must they forgot we some Sacramento Kings, whole squad going crazy, yeah, we back with it. Northern Cali going crazy, one sack winning. If you doubted us then, ain't no backspinning. This is real right here, ain't no catfishing. So tell me what you see now. Coming down the lane off the rebound. It's 9-16 now. Look towards the sky like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. If you reppin' that Kings like the beam now. Slack crowd, make sure everyone knows. Let me tell you how this thing really goes. Yeah, we travel deep. Whether we home or on the road, we lit. You don't want that smoke, we the team of the year. We shaking things over here, don't doubt, we believe over here. We don't bleed over here. And let me just speak real clear, only deal with real kings over here. Real clear, only deal with real kings over here. So tell me what you see now. Coming down the lane off the rebound. It's 9-16 now. Look toward the sky like the beam now.
Let's go!
Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. If you reppin' that Kings like the beam now.
Go DJ.
Back on my bull, back on my cool. I'm turning it up, they feeling the heat, so they searching for pools. Tripping on me cause I'm doing my thing and they hoping that I'll be the fool. Taking the game and I'm screwing it up while these boys still searching and looking for tools. Playing it cool, faking it's who. Yeah, they look mad cause I'm breaking the rules. Breaking it loose while I'm breaking some news. Give me your pride and I'm breaking that too. They ain't ahead of us, they don't compare to us. They feeling the kick cause they hearing the change like I opened the register. Flexing on tracks cause this thing is not optional. Leg day is coming, I'm jumping the obstacles. Laughing at haters, we thinking it's comical. Yelling outside like we yelling out dominoes. Always be claiming they monsters. Boy, go get you a sponsor. All of that chatting, all of that acting, gon' mess around, get you an Oscar. They calling me Terrence, I hustle and flow. They all on my line cause I'm still in the vote. Your girl all on me cause she feeling the stroke. Make them say whoa when I'm hitting my woe. Talking like I do not got it. You talking like your boy is not it. When you talk, all I hear is yappa, yappa, yada, 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 yada. Most of your favorites ain't dealing with me. Pouring it up like the end of the week. You don't let us in, we still in the keys. We coming from nothing and ending the street. Aiming at throats and taking out knees. They feeling the pressure and know they can't breathe. Winning the races and taking the places and walking their stages like it's a degree. Feel it in your veins, it's a dope flow. Got the whole game in a chokehold. They taking too long, you can't see me now. Put them in boxes like photos. Packing the bags and hitting new land. I do what I want, they do what they can. All in their way, I'm messing up plans. I'm speaking the truth, I keep it a Grant. Waiting for Zell, never will fail. Waist looking slim, she eating her kale. I'm peeping the game and playing it well. She throwing it back like it's way too excel. Come from the pain and I'm chasing no fame. I come up with morals, can't slander my name. Taking what's mine and grabbing the flame. Shooting my shot and yelling out game. Know what's real when I'm giving the feel. Can't look back when you turning the wheel. Go get a doctor, I'm giving the chills. Told them to get out, grab the key and they pill. I warn them that I am a factor. Clearing the way for this tractor. Got some new goals, never will fold. Came too far just to back up. Nah, this ain't what you used to. We ain't tripping on nobody, we just moved through. You couldn't keep up, cause my steps too long. It's time to wake them up, they have slept too long. Zip. Time to wake them up, they have slept too long. They have time to wake them up, they have time to wake them up. Wake them, time to wake them up. They have slept too long. Zip. We hop out. Yeah, we pull up, and we hop out. Yeah, we pull up, and we hop out. Do our dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up, and we hop out. Do our dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up, and we hop out. Do our dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up, and we hop out. Do our dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up, and we hop out. Talking about some things you was not about. Tell them we don't play like the lockout. Got me feeling like Yeezy on the dropout. Can't deal with no phonies. Flow like baloney. Ain't no game round here, homeboy. This ain't Sony. They said they gon' show me. It's in me, not on me. Ha, you don't know me. Call the game what's up now. They hating from the bus now. Been doing this T-Pain. Drop the up, down. Oh, I'm on the hunt now. Tell me what you want now. Yeah, I do my dance when you see me in the touchdown. Yeah, we pull up and we hop out. Do our dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up and we hop out. Do I dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up and we hop out. Do I dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up and we hop out. Do I dance, then we bring the whole block out.
Yeah, when we pulling up, my nigga, let me know. And if the haters hate, we finna let him go. Pull up, pop out, two-step, hit the torpedo. When we do our thing, homie, don't let your shorty go. Everywhere we go, we do the stupid dance. I've been doing this since Soulja Boy taught y'all the Superman. Always showing love, we play the stupid jams. Hit you with them shots and got the kind of aim that Cupid has. We ain't never scared. We don't
Shout out to LeBron James joining the chat. What's up, LeBron?
Gotta keep it simple, this for everybody, ladies and
big fan of the show, of course.
Flopping in the whip, got the speakers going crazy. Block party lit, family geeking, getting way. Granny, son, the uncles to the nieces to the babe. We gon' get it cracking like a weekend.
Yeah, we pull up and we hop out. Do our dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up and we hop out. Do our dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up and we hop out. Do our dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah, we pull up and we hop out. Do our dance, then we bring the whole block out. Yeah. They do not know what Sactown brings. When on the low, that's a Sactown thing. Talking about us, it's a bounce out thing. Must they forgot we some Sacramento Kings. Whole squad going crazy, yeah, we back with it. Northern Cali going crazy, one sack winning. If you doubted us, then ain't no back spinning. This is real right here, ain't no catfishing. So tell me what you see now.
LeBron, you see the beam in your dreams, bro.
It's 9:16 now. Look towards the sky like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. If you reppin' that Kings like the beam now. Sac crowd, make sure everyone knows. Let me tell you how this thing really goes. Yeah, we travel deep. Whether we home or on the road, we lit. You don't want that smoke, we the team of the year. We shaking things over here, don't doubt. We believe over here, we don't bleed over here. And let me just speak real clear, only deal with real kings over here. So tell me what you see now. Coming down the lane off the rebound. It's 9:16 now. Look toward the sky like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. If you reppin' that Kings like the beam now. I remember when you was crying over tests. You know I held you tight while your head was on my chest. I wanna go back to the times we didn't stress. Everything was black and white, something like a ref. I swear our love is slept on. You can have my left arm. Your friends was talking mess, but you was never crept on. Your mind was saying that. Your friends was saying this. I ain't never raised my voice, never once called you a I know as a woman, a lot is on your mind. You thinking about the future, you questioning the time. Well, baby, I'm your answer. Let me be right by your side. I wanna see you shine.
Welcome to
when
Royal
you tired,
Rebounds
let me
TV
ride.
with Calvin
I
and
ain't
Barry.
in a rush.
Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wildin' in the stands. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gon' be our year. We're here, drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring, yeah.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. The Kings win tonight. They beat the New York Knicks 122-117 in Sacramento. Calvin, it was an exciting game to watch tonight, but bigger news than that, Kings are the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Calvin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you got the hat on, you get the hair down, the chain on. I like it, dude. I like it. Well, first off, we got to give a special shout out to Bench Matthew joining in via Twitter Spaces. He wants to come up on stage, so I'm going to bring him up here in a second and hear from him. Also, we got to give a shout out to all of our Royal family here in the chat. Jose is here. Callum is here. It's good to see you guys. And everybody else that's watching. Fred, what is that? Valdez. Bench Matthew, Pika House, Mike Monticello is here. Gilbert is here. Wow, we got LeBron James in the house tonight. He's probably got nothing better to do while he's rehabbing. Marcus is here. Shout out to everybody. Good to see you all. But Kings win. I think that's the most important thing tonight, Jeff. The lefty is here. Man, it's been a couple days off, Calvin. I'm feeling a little rusty here. It's Thursday. Our last stream was on what, Monday?
Monday.
Wow. It's good to have a couple days off. But, hey, I'm excited to talk some Kings basketball. Give me your first thoughts on the game tonight, Cal.
Just a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch this game. I mean, obviously there's parts of it that make you want to pull your hair out, all the offensive rebounds, the fact that you give up the big lead. Good teams make runs in the NBA. That's the way it goes. But I think the way this game started, how into it the crowd was, nationally televised game, goes pretty much according to plan if you follow the Kings this year.
Yep.
I mean, they play well on nationally televised games. They play well in big games. They started off strong, built a lead. Knicks make a run, make it a good game, an entertaining game. And then Star Fox in the fourth quarter takes over. Clutch time, the Kings pull it out again.
He definitely did. Yeah,
with some very, very good help from a couple of very unfortunate Knick turnovers, one by Josh Hart and one by Julius Randle at the end of the game there.
Yeah, shout out to Josh Hart, career high in offensive rebounds tonight. The Knicks were offensive tonight.
All over it.
And then he turns the ball over there, and then, Julius Randle with some more boneheaded plays.
And Julius Randle had a hand in that Josh Hart turnover as well. Yep. I know everybody is pegging Hart, and yes, he did ultimately turn the ball over, but Julius Randle fakes like he's going into the backcourt. He's got to make a break for it. That's what happens when your point guard gets hurt and you don't have anybody out there to handle the ball.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson does leave the game at halftime, does not return, has a bruised foot, which I've had that injury in the past. It absolutely sucks, and Terrible. It takes a really, really long time to heal. Shout out to Derek. Kristen is here. Skip is here. Who else? Central Valley Kings. Neil. Roger. Brian. Welcome in, everybody. Light the effing beam. Lane is here. Guys, don't want to forget to remind you all to smash up that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Calvin, how many likes tonight before we light the beam?
Let's go with 50.
50 likes tonight, and we light the beam. But hey, Calvin, we got a special guest on here via Twitter Spaces. I want to hear from Bench Matthew because he's always.
It's been a minute. We haven't heard from him.
Yeah, and he's always got some wonderful things to say.
Absolutely.
So, Matthew, are you there?
I am here, gentlemen. It's so good to hear your voice, and I'm glad to be back.
It's better to hear yours, man. How's your heart feeling after this game?
Well, I'm looking at my blood pressure monitor here, and I'm still alive. So praise the Lord, we're here. So light the beam.
Light the beam is good. Alive is good. Well, hey, no, in all seriousness, we hope everything's going okay with you. We love you. We appreciate you. And if there's anything that we can do to help you out, please let us know. Don't be afraid to reach out.
Thank you, guys. I do appreciate that. And I can definitely say for Mrs. Bench as well, definitely miss hanging out with you guys more. But we're just celebrating together as a Kings Nation, as a royal family tonight. Kings win, and we're stoked. We're stoked tonight.
Yes, we are. Shout out to D Fox Collector and Sac Kings 005 for joining in via Twitter Spaces. Bench Matthew, this was the second nationally televised game of the year for the Sacramento Kings. If you do not count NBA TV, they are 2-0 in those games. They're also, I believe, 2-0 in overtime games this year as well.
4-0.
4-0, Calvin says.
4-0.
So this Kings team has played exceptionally well when it has mattered. What are your thoughts on the game tonight?
Well, and they're also 2-0 if I'm remembering correctly, 2-0 at home against New York. And so there's something about that New York matchup at home with the nationally televised cameras. Listen, I don't know if you guys felt similarly, but I felt a little bit nervous about this game. Felt a little nervous, and it's not just because the Knicks are hot, but we're looking down the barrel of a pretty tough way to close out this season. With we've got some big names coming in. We've got two big matchups with the Suns. We've got the Bucks coming in, and I was looking at this game as, is this going to be the entryway to some momentum of proving that we're able to hang with some pretty powerful teams, coming down the stretch. And I was really, really proud of the team coming out. I was texting with a number of people before the game, and everyone was pretty much under the same consensus that we needed it to hit this team with a punch to the mouth early, and that's exactly what we did. I was glad to see Fox come in the fourth quarter. And be that fourth quarter Fox. But that third quarter was a little rough. But again, I think the Kings are going to need to experience those kinds of, I don't know how to describe it, but, the deflations of momentum if we're going to make any splash in the postseason.
Yeah, I agree completely. They're going to have to figure out a way. They're not going to grab every rebound against a great rebounding team like the New York Knicks, but like you mentioned, being able to somehow turn off the faucet. You can't just let the water run for an entire quarter like that in the postseason. It's something we talked about last week on the show after the Minnesota loss, with the defensive effort that was played in that game and it potentially being a really, really big problem in the playoffs. But on the flip side of that, like you mentioned, Matthew, and we were just talking about a second ago, when the lights are the brightest for the Kings, they have always played their best this season, which is amazing to say about a team that doesn't have very much playoff experience, doesn't have a ton of experience playing together with the group. I mean, yes, they've played over 60 games now as a team this year, but brought in a lot of new pieces, new coach. The fact that they are able to be so good when it matters most is really, really quite surprising to me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is, right? Like, this is a really inexperienced team, an inexperienced fan base, and yet we're the second seed in the Western Conference. Yes, I know we tied, we have the same record as Memphis. They did win tonight as well, so we're still tied in the standings. But it's just great to see this team compete, a team with a bunch of guys that haven't played really a full season together, and they're competing. I know a lot of people were very negative after the trade deadline. They wanted the Kings to make a big move, bring in a superstar, stuff like that. We'll talk about Durant a little bit later on the podcast tonight, but I'm just so happy to see where the Kings are at. And like you mentioned, Matthew, the Knicks have been extremely hot. As they were saying on the broadcast today, this is a matchup between two teams that are surprisingly good this season. Matthew, I want to know from you, do the New York Knicks have the worst team name in the NBA?
Well, I love how you guys are on a roll. We had the Pelicans with the worst. We had the Timberwolves with the worst. Between a Timberwolf being, a wolf, a bird, and a pair of pants.
Yeah, we beat the
I got to go with a pair of pants.
Absolutely.
Oh, man, I love it. Yeah, the Knicks have the worst team name in NBA history.
100%. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks in football, they're a bird. They seem to be fine. The Atlanta Falcons, they seem to be fine. So I think the Pelicans can, take a back seat to the worst name in the NBA. I think the Knickerbockers can own that one if they want.
Oh, man, I love that. Calvin, I mean, we saw in this game, we saw De'Aaron Fox late in the game playing extremely well. We also saw him limping a little bit there.
Yeah.
We know he's been dealing with a hamstring injury. He's missed, 2 out of the last 4 games to kind of rest that hamstring. I personally am a little concerned because I know that hamstring injuries linger. I mentioned we had a bunch of days off, right? We had Tuesday, Wednesday, today's Thursday. He seemed to be fine for the majority of the game until kind of like that last, that long rebound that everyone was kind of fighting for. I don't know if he stepped weird or whatever going after it. But what are your thoughts on the hamstring injury?
Well, I think that's probably just a culmination of at the end there in the fourth quarter when he is basically trying to do everything himself, defensively and offensively, right? He really ratchets it up another level. So it maybe looks like it's on one play, but it's probably just a buildup of the constant pressure that he's putting on it there in the fourth quarter, both on offense and defense. I agree with you. A hamstring definitely has to make you nervous because it's one of those injuries that you might think you're okay and then all of a sudden you're not okay. If you roll your ankle, it's most of the time when you roll an ankle, you know whether or not you're going to be able to keep playing or not.
I thought we weren't talking about Kevin Durant until later.
We're not talking about Kevin Durant. I'm just saying in general.
Okay.
Because a rolled ankle is probably the most frequent injury that happens in basketball.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to compare the injuries here.
Okay.
So if you roll your ankle, you lace up the shoes a little bit tighter, you walk around on it a little bit, you can gauge pretty easily after maybe a possession or two or a couple of minutes of walking and trying to jog on it if it's going to be something that is going to keep you out for the rest of the game. A hamstring might not do that to you. You might feel fine for most of the game, and then like you said, on one move or one play, you stretch it too far and all of a sudden you're out for weeks.
Yeah.
So it is worrisome. He's a young guy. He probably heals faster than you or I do if we're out there. So
I don't have hamstring or ankle injuries, Calvin.
You don't play 40 minutes a night either.
Not every night.
So you might have a few more issues if you did. But we'll see. I mean, you just have to monitor it right now and be cautious with it, which, the Kings have done a pretty good job of doing that so far already.
Yeah, yeah. Matthew, any thoughts on the hamstring injury?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta first of all shout out to the TNT crew. I thought that they did a great job tonight, commenting on the game, doing play by play and color. But one of the things that they mentioned is that the Kings are, in the top two of the healthiest teams this far as deploying their starting five, and credit to the Kings and credit to the supporting staff, and it's just, sometimes it's just how the cards are going to show up. But the Kings have remained mostly healthy this season, and that is largely pointing to their success in the standings in the West. And so anytime a guy like fourth quarter Fox is showing some potential issues, yeah, it should make you nervous. But at the same time, we've seen Foxy, for a good chunk of the season, seemed like he's had a number of things kind of going on behind the scenes, and he's been pretty durable. I thought it was a decent decision by Mike Brown to effectively load manage him the other night. And we're in a position right now in the season where we might need to start looking at that. I know that's not a popular thing, but if you look at some of the teams who have gone all the way, they're load managing guys, and a guy like Foxy you got to protect. And so I'm hoping that he stays healthy. And I'm also equally proud of him sticking it through and really putting in a quality performance all the way to the end tonight.
Yeah, and I think having a guy like Davion Mitchell, it makes you feel a little bit better, right? Even with games that Fox has missed, Davion's done a pretty good job filling in, especially recently. So I think that definitely helps out. Matthew, how long do you have to hang tonight? Is it cool if I go over the box score?
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm here for a bit.
All right, I love it. Okay, let's dive here into the box score tonight. Sacramento Kings win 122-117 over the New York Pants. Domantas Sabonis, 37 minutes of action tonight, 9 of 15 from the field, 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. This was his second consecutive triple-double. Calvin, is this ninth on this season?
I believe that's 9, yeah.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. And one incredible chase down block in this game by Domas Sabonis. 3 turnovers for him tonight. Harrison Barnes, 38 minutes of action, 4 of 9 from the field, 10 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, and a steal tonight. Keegan Murray in 26 minutes of action, 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 5 from three-point range, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Kevin Huerter, 32 minutes of action, 6 of 12 from the field, 2 of 7 from three-point range, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. And De'Aaron Fox, the man tonight, 31 minutes of action, 9 of 16 from the field, 1 of 4 from three-point range, but it was a late and very clutch three-pointer for him. 23 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals in this game to go along with 3 turnovers. Trey Lyles, 16 points off the bench tonight for him in 25 minutes of action, 6 rebounds and a steal to go with it. And Malik Monk, 19 points in 20 minutes, including 5 rebounds and 5 assists. And Davion Mitchell, 5 points in 19 minutes of action. Calvin, what stands out most to you there?
Definitely Trey Lyles and Malik Monk stand out. Monk had 17 of his 19 in the first half. I think he was 6 of 7 shooting. In the first half, he was absolutely on fire when they put him in there. Trey Lyles, again, with a really, really solid performance. And Kevin Huerter, 2 more steals. I thought that the Kings' defense coming out to start this game, especially how they were guarding Julius Randle, and this was when Jalen Brunson was still playing also, they did a really good job of corralling him, doubling him, forcing him to get rid of the ball, and not giving him the possessions and plays that he really likes to kind of get his offense started with early in the game, where they post him up. He tries to take advantage of people inside. He had Harrison Barnes on him. The Knicks made a great adjustment by not posting him up anymore. They put him outside. They got a lot more dribble penetration that way. It led to the scramble plays and the offensive rebounds off the open threes. But the Kings were really good in the first quarter of just focusing on Julius Randle, doubling him early, forcing him to give the ball up. And he struggled for most of the game, really.
Yeah, I mean, we thought this was going to be a slugfest, right? When you play the New York Knicks, they like to slow things down. They like to be physical inside. I mean, 122-117 is pretty high scoring for a game against the New York Knicks. As far as the team stats go, 52% from the field for the Kings as opposed to 41% for the New York Knicks. The Kings shot 31% from three-point range as opposed to 26% for the Knicks. The Knicks did not shoot well from the free throw line, only 64%. Kings shot 75%. The Knicks did out-rebound the Kings tonight, 58-42. Kings had 28 assists on the night, 10 steals, 3 blocks, and 12 turnovers. And then points in the paint, pretty even tonight, but the Kings did win that battle, 60-56. Kings had a 21-point lead in this game in the third quarter, and they allowed the Knicks to tie the game. However, the Kings played much better in the fourth quarter, and De'Aaron Fox was able to secure the win for the Sacramento Kings. Matthew, give me your thoughts on the team stats tonight.
Yeah, well, we're talking about rebounds, and they did a great job on the broadcast talking about how consistently the Knicks were able to track down those offensive rebounds. And as I was texting, several people throughout the game, I mean, that was the thing that kept coming up. Just like, man, it seemed like the Knicks just kept tracking down every single offensive rebound. But credit to the Kings defense that those second chance, sometimes third, fourth, fifth chance points, the Knicks usually weren't converting. And that is a different story to the Kings narrative. Normally we're giving up on those second chance points. And when whatever Mike Brown and the staff really grilled into the Kings tonight, I think really translated, especially in that first half, which is where I think that the Kings were able to create that separation, because as good as the offense was clicking, the Kings weren't really on their typical pace of that high end offense. The Kings were really coming off of the help defense at a pretty good rate, also mixing in that zone from time to time to try and throw the Knicks off. And so, when we're talking about the box scores, the thing that really jumps off the page to me is just how the Knicks really out-rebounded them. And obviously with our conversations, we've emphasized how important that is. But the counter to those second chance offensive possessions is, can the Kings scramble and get into a scramble position on defense? And credit to the Kings, the first half, they did a pretty good job of that. Second half is a little bit of a different story. And maybe those defensive efforts in the first half allowed for the great things of the Knicks coming back in the second half.
Definitely. I mean, watching that one possession. Calvin, what was that, like 4 minutes left in the game?
Yeah, I think
where it was just like offensive rebound, offensive rebound,
it was
offensive
5
rebound.
offensive rebounds.
That was incredible, dude. I felt sick to my stomach watching that. And I'm like, what is going on here? When can the Kings get a rebound? And, of course, the possession ends with 1 second left, inbounding the ball to RJ Barrett hitting a 3.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, were they just going to score or just keep rebounding the basketball? Because obviously you can't get an offensive rebound when the ball goes in, right? So it's like a really, really frustrating possession. Calvin, any thoughts on the team stats? And then I want to throw some shade at Julius Randle.
Okay, we definitely want to do that. I think there's a couple things that stand out to me besides the rebounds, because everybody is going to obviously talk about that. It was so glaring. You don't even have to look at the team stats to see how glaring that was. But when you do, it's even more astonishing. 23 offensive rebounds in a game. I mean, that's close to how many total rebounds the Kings have had in games this year. So
Crazy.
It's really, really astonishing. But, Matthew was talking about the defensive effort. Despite all of those offensive rebounds, the Kings did continue to battle through every possession. They also got a little bit lucky. I mean, if you look at the Knicks 3-point shooting tonight, 13 of 50. That's 26%. Other than Jalen Brunson, who hit a bunch in the first quarter, and Quentin Grimes, who was hitting a bunch of them in the second half, the Knicks were missing a lot of wide open threes that came off of a bunch of those offensive rebounds. So there's, sometimes you have to get a little lucky in those situations. Tonight, the Kings did, with the fact that the Knicks missed a bunch of those shots. However, on the flip side of that, when it mattered most in the clutch, the Kings again came up with some pretty important turnovers, and they converted off of them. They got 14 turnovers, but they scored 21 points off of those turnovers. That was a big difference in this game.
Yeah, and you mentioned offensive rebounds. 8 of those came from a 6'4" guard, Calvin, and Josh Hart, a career high for him, which is absolutely incredible. Shout out to Charles here and Asha are both here. Looks like, Calvin, they are members of the royal family. Asha wants to hear the Island Boys, so let's give her the Island Boys.
The Kings won, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabanas is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
Oh, they're the playoffs. Sorry, Charles. I apologize for that. But, hey, shout out to David here for the Super Chat. David, we appreciate all your support on the channel. And everybody else, I mean, if you guys would like to support the channel, we do currently have memberships. You can sign up. There's 2 different tiers. There's a $1.99 tier, and there's a $9.99 tier per month. It gives you a cool green name. You get extra emojis, gifts. You get extra contact with us and access to other videos. So shout out to everybody that is a member. And if you'd like to be a member, just scroll down below into the description where it says join the royal family. You can hit that, or you can go to the main page of this channel and hit join. So shout out to all my royal family members out there. Calvin, Julius Randle.
We were talking about it before it happened.
Yep.
At the end of the game, but it's one of those things, right? Like, Julius Randle does so many good things, and then he can take everything that he did great away in one play.
Yeah.
Whether it's getting ejected out of the game when you're up and you're on pace for like 45 points or whatever it was in New York when the Kings played, that actually ended up benefiting them somehow. They ran away with it in the second half. But at the time, you and I were just sitting there like, what is this guy doing, man? Does he not understand what's happening right now? This is an easy win for them. He's killing it. Yep. The Kings cannot stop him. He's just one of those guys, kind of like a DeMarcus Cousins, who... That's
exactly what I said.
He will do so many good things for you, and then at the same time, he'll make you question why you're a fan of his in one moment.
That was the last game, right? In New York, he was killing. Did he have like 30 points or something crazy at halftime? And we're just like, man, Julius Randle's incredible. And then he gets tossed from the game in the third quarter from some just ridiculous play. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's why he's been on the trade block for 5 years. And that's probably the reason why they won that game, because they didn't have him late in the game to F it up like he did in this game. Calvin, you know what feels pretty good? LeBron James is commenting in the chat right now, and LeBron, you're on timeout. That feels pretty good, dude. I just put LeBron on timeout.
Dang.
I just put LeBron on timeout.
How many
dude.
times have you done that?
First
Never.
time.
First
First time ever.
First time for everything,
It feels
I guess.
good, though. It feels really, really good. Gilbert says, that's the same way as Westbrook. Do you agree with that? Is Westbrook similar? Because, I mean, there's a lot of players that are incredible, incredible basketball players that people have talked about in the past. And they say, normally what they say is like, that guy will never lead a championship team, or that guy will never win a title. He's too selfish, stuff like that. But I don't even really know how to describe it. Like boneheaded. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, but just the fact that it's like, you're a great basketball player, but you don't have like the mental fortitude to understand what it takes in the crucial moments.
Yeah, I mean, some guys are great players, but they seem to fade away in the big time clutch moments, right? And some guys, like De'Aaron Fox, for example, excel in it. At least this year, especially.
No, not just this year, Calvin. De'Aaron Fox is excellent in the fourth quarter.
His numbers this year are so much better than they've ever been,
and they're getting better every year.
Yeah, I agree with you, but. All right, just relax for a second.
You called him a star on the last show.
He is a star.
Exactly. Give him some credit.
I am giving him credit.
Okay.
Dang, man. But yeah, I mean, Julius Randle, I guess it is a little similar to Westbrook. The only thing I would say about that, and I know Mike would disagree with me if he was here because he calls him the worst MVP of all time. Westbrook wasn't always like that in his career. This dude, I think people forget exactly how good Russell Westbrook was at one point. And he did not do things that completely ruined the game or gave the game away for his team over and over again. He was the reason that they won so many games in Oklahoma City. Yep. So I definitely think that it's changed over time. But, I mean, Julius Randle I think it just goes to show how important it was for the Knicks to sign Jalen Brunson this year.
Break down the Josh Hart inbound pass, because a lot of people want to blame Josh Hart.
Well, and look, I will say this. Josh Hart deserves some blame because he's the guy that ultimately fumbles the ball. But from his vantage point, if I'm putting myself in his shoes, Julius Randle is making a move towards the backcourt to get this pass. I forget who the Kings defender was on the ball, but he sees that and he takes a couple of steps back and puts himself in a position to where he might not get the steal. Trey Lyles might not get the steal, but Trey Lyles, a guy who's 6'8" and has a pretty good wingspan, is going to bother that pass or might even tip it if Julius Randle doesn't keep going back into the backcourt. And that's what Josh Hart thought he was going to do, which is why he was going to launch the ball deep into the backcourt. When he sees Julius Randle stop, that's when he tries to stop the ball from coming out of his hands, and it fumbles. So it's on both of them. It's not one person or the other. That's why Josh Hart was pissed, because Julius Randle, a point guard who knows that situation and knows how to get the ball in those moments, would have gone deep into the backcourt for that pass. I guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee it.
Point guard wasn't available.
Yes.
Like you mentioned. Yes. And then right after that, we see Julius Randle get an awesome steal on the defensive end, and then another boneheaded play.
He fires it out of bounds.
Throwing it out of bounds.
Trying to pass it to RJ Barrett.
But I
forgot about that play.
Yeah. Shout out to Gothan for joining in. Fred is here. Alex is here. Matthew, I want to hear your thoughts on, I don't even really know how to word this, but I guess just the difference between players that understand the moment and players that the moment's a little too big for.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're talking about the difference between players who are ready for the playoffs and players who might be frazzled, by the moment. And for those of us who have played at a competitive level, for those of us who have played in pickup games, obviously there's a differentiation between, certain moments are going to be worth more, per minute. And when we're talking about professional athletes who are being paid millions of dollars, who are, every millisecond of their on court time is being analyzed, that's the pressure that the vast majority of us, we can't associate with. And so we've got the pleasure of being able to kind of pick apart, these players, from our couches. But when it comes to guys like, De'Aaron Fox, who tend to thrive under the pressure, I also got to tip my hat to Mike Brown in the way that he coaches, because I think that there is a strategy within the Kings staff to specifically put Fox in that moment. One of the conversations or one of the talking points that I see within, Kings Twitter and just kind of Kings fandom is, why don't we get 4 quarters of fourth quarter Fox, someone who tends to thrive under the pressure? And I think the reason is nobody gets 4 quarters of fourth quarter all-star. And if you do, then, they're averaging 70 points a game. And the fact that the Kings have somebody like De'Aaron Fox who tends to thrive under the pressure, I think the Kings are able to strategize the first half, especially the first 3 quarters, around Sabonis, around whoever that third person is, be it Barnes or Monk, Trey Lyles, whoever, Herter, whoever is really filling that third role to carry that team to the first bit of the game there, because Fox tends to be that guy who just has the ice in the veins. And that's a very difficult thing to quantify, to qualify, in a person, that this person has the quote X factor, right? But when you look at De'Aaron Fox and the way that he carries this team down the stretch, you've got to credit this guy in the ability to, we're looking at a new award, and maybe you guys can remember the name of the Clutch Award that the NBA is introducing this season. But right away, De'Aaron Fox is leading the pack in all of those things that are quantified. And so when you look at what makes a player someone who can thrive under pressure, I don't know. I think some of that is just inherent. I think some of that is skills that transcend the basketball court, and that just kind of goes to the personality of the person as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's almost like a been there, done that attitude, right? Is the moment's not too big because you've already been there, you've done that. And I think that's kind of a swagger that Coach Mike Brown carries with him, and he tries to instill in his players. And I mean, why not, right? Like, this guy has won Coach of the Year before. This guy has won NBA titles before. He's coached some of the best players of all time. And I think that confidence that he has in his players gives them more confidence. And I would go back to look at, the young Golden State Warriors team, right, where Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were still trying to figure out exactly who they were. And Calvin, who was the coach that instilled the confidence in them?
Steve Kerr?
No, before Steve Kerr.
Luke Walton?
No, not Luke Walton.
Mike Brown?
Not Mike Brown. Almost there.
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson. He was there. He told the guys, keep shooting. You're going to be those guys. He believed in them before anybody else did. And I think that Mike Brown is that guy for this Kings team. Is he believes in De'Aaron Fox. He believes in Domantas Sabonis. And he gives them that confidence to make them greater, to make them better, and give them that be or been there, done that attitude. And I think it's reflecting in the standings. It's reflecting the fourth quarter play by De'Aaron Fox. And overall, this entire team is kind of getting this swagger. So shout out to him. When they were talking about on the broadcast today, they were talking about the Sabonis trade, and they spent a lot of time talking about who won that trade, and maybe both teams won it, and we didn't know Sabonis was going to do this. They talked a little bit about Kevin Herter, but I didn't think they spent enough time talking about the biggest addition of the offseason, and that was bringing in a guy like Mike Brown, who I was extremely high on. And I know a lot of people were disappointed because they wanted a guy like Mark Jackson. They wanted to say, oh, well, Mark Jackson created the Golden State Warriors dynasty. He could do the same thing for Sacramento. And a lot of people were really disappointed when he was not chosen to be the head coach. But I think Mike Brown has been an absolute huge, huge addition to this Kings roster and helped elevate them to this level. But, hey, dude, I could talk about this stuff all day long, but I want to get back to the game tonight because it was an incredible game to watch. And yes, the second nationally televised game here for the Sacramento Kings. But guys, I want to remind you all, we're about 7 likes away on YouTube away from lighting the beam. So please, please smash up that like button. Calvin, First Kings player I want to talk about tonight is
Keegan
Murray.
Give me your thoughts on Keegan Murray tonight.
I thought Keegan came out very, very locked in. I thought the defensive effort that he put forth was good. You know, he didn't shoot as well as we've seen him shoot in the past. But overall, I thought it was a good game from him. You know, people might say, you know, why isn't he in? I see a comment here. Why isn't he playing in the clutch? He stopped hitting shots, all this stuff. I mean, Mike Brown, as we just talked about, he's got a really good feel for this team, and I think he knows who to go with in that closing moment, time in and time out. Keegan might have played well in the end of this game, down the stretch, but Trey also was having a great game, and he gives them another guy that's really solid with the ball and is a good decision maker. Keegan is maybe getting that way, but if they're able to take him away on the three-point line in a late-game situation, he can kind of get lost in the offense a little bit. Trey Lyles always adds another little wrinkle, whether it's the three-point shot if you leave him open, it's the drive on the hard closeout to either go to the cup himself or make a play for somebody else. There's the post-up game.
Causing the turnover.
Good rebounder, causing the turnover. Not the best defender, but just a really smart decision maker. So I think Keegan will eventually be all of those things if he isn't already. But you know, Mike Brown made the right call again down the stretch. So not a bad game from Keegan, I would say. Just he didn't shoot as well as we've seen him shoot in the past.
Yeah, and it's a constant battle, right, for a guy like Mike Brown where you're easing in players, but you're trying to win basketball games at the same time, right? I think a lot of Kings fans would agree that this team is maybe a little ahead of schedule. I did not expect them to be the second seed in the Western Conference. I mean, your hair didn't expect them to be the second seed in the Western Conference. So, you know, it's a fine balance, and I think spending time in Golden State, Mike Brown saw what happened to James Wiseman, a former number 2 overall pick that didn't really crack the starting lineup, didn't really get much playing time at all. Now he's playing a little bit better in Detroit where, you know, the expectations aren't as high, the situations aren't as high. So I think it's kind of a balance with Keegan in terms of getting him experience. He is a rookie, but also not setting him up for failure, not letting him make those huge mistakes that could destroy his confidence and further inhibit him from making big plays. Calvin, we hit 50 likes here, so I think it's time to light the beam.
Fire the laser.
Fire the laser!
I love it. Look at that purple laser beam into the sky. It is so, so beautiful.
Hopefully LeBron can see that from his couch.
Yeah, hopefully. We got De'Aaron Fox here in the chat tonight. Good to see you, De'Aaron. Hope the hamstring is okay. Matthew, give me your thoughts on Keegan Murray, what you like and what you dislike, what you've seen from him this year, and how his progression is, where he's at.
Yeah, so if there's one thing that we can glean from De'Aaron Fox being the fourth quarter Fox, Keegan Murray, I think, is getting the majority of his, swings from the plate in the first 3 quarters of the game. And that's something that from, I think, a coaching standpoint, that's a good thing for a rookie, being able to build confidence in a time of the game where maybe the crunch time isn't as critical. I think especially in the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've noticed that Keegan Murray has been getting more shot attempts in the first 24, 36 minutes of the game. And when it gets down into the fourth quarter, obviously you see the hand, you see the ball in Fox's hands more often. And honestly, from a development standpoint, I do appreciate that, especially where the Kings are at in the standings. The fact that the last 4, 5, 6 games have been pretty close down the stretch. You really do need the ball in a hand like Domantas Sabonis or De'Aaron Fox. But I do like the fact that the Kings are looking for Keegan Murray in mixing up in the bag. He's competing with touches with Kevin Huerter, and as Huerter has been getting hot in the last 2 or 3 weeks, you're ultimately competing with touches for Keegan Murray. And so I do like the fact that he is also putting up an additional effort on the defensive end, as well as looking to rebound, especially if Herter is looking for a three. Keegan Murray is usually looking for an offensive rebound if that's coming off on the other side of the elbow. And so what I really do like in Keegan Murray and his development in the last 6 weeks, as opposed to, the first half of the season, is seeing that additional defensive effort as well as closing out that offensive possession if someone else is ultimately getting that shot on the other side of the court.
Yeah, good point. I mean, we're starting to see more and more from Keegan Murray every single day. Calvin, you have any more thoughts on Keegan Murray? And then I want to dive into what your keys to the game were tonight.
No, I think Matthew put a good little bow tie on that. We can move on.
All right. What were your keys to the game tonight?
Well, we all know what one was. It was rebounding.
Could have guessed that one.
Where are we here? And we all know that the Kings did not pass that test. They fought hard throughout the course of the game, but giving up 23 offensive rebounds, I will not give you a passing grade for that. Number one was fast break opportunities. I felt like playing a team in New York that is generally a slower paced team. It's a lot of isolation, one-on-one basketball. It can be a bit of a slower, grinded out game, which they like. Good defensive team. You need to get some easy opportunities. They were actually completely flipped here. I think they were outscored 23-7 by New York on the fast break. But they did make up for that with the fact that they forced a bunch of turnovers and converted on those. So you still got some easier looks or good possessions off of the turnovers. So kind of a half and half there. And then number three, they did a fantastic job on this one, which was probably maybe other than rebounding, the more important key to the game, and that was how they were going to defend Julius Randle. Made him very, very frustrated and kind of flustered early on in the game, and definitely he struggled, I think, as a result late in the game because of the type of pressure that they put on him early and didn't let him get going with any easy buckets.
So 1 out of 3 is what they hit tonight.
1 out of 3.
What do you think they were able to do to make up for those differences?
Well, it was a couple things. Being positive in the three-point category, of course, New York shot pretty poorly from three. I thought that the Kings they ran their offense. In the first half, it was Domantas Sabonis 100% all the way. They looked to go at him inside.
Yep.
He's so good at neutralizing shot blockers. He's obviously not a guy that's going to elevate and dunk over you. Or fade away and get good shots off like that. But his ability to go into the body of a bigger guy, pump fake, pivot, whatever it is, he's so good at timing his moves so that a player, even if they're completely straight up and down with their arms up, they will have to make a move after that initial contact, and that's when he immediately goes up for the shot. He gets it off every time. Just so good, even against the best shot blockers in this league. And the rest of the offense, right, is spread around the perimeter. So he's able to have a lot of those one-on-one opportunities against a big man like this because the Knicks are not the team that are going to send the double there. They're going to rely on Mitchell Robinson. And the Kings took full advantage of that matchup early and often. And then in the second half, they ended up sending more double teams at Sabonis. That's when he's able to pick apart defenses, find guys, and, of course, Fox to carry them through in the end. So just a perfect example of why the Kings are so hard to defend.
Yep.
Matthew talked about how it's great to have Fox, save himself for that late game situation. When you're having to deal with Domantas Sabonis, who can hurt you really at all three levels, you have to be worried about his playmaking and his ability to take you off the dribble, take a big man off the dribble, pivots inside, offensive rebounds, the bang bodies inside type thing. And then all of a sudden you change that to the lightning quick, fastest guard in the NBA who can go 0 to 60, cover 94 feet in 3 seconds. If you've been doing that half-court defense and having to worry about where the ball is going to be on all sides of the court, and then all of a sudden it's a guy who can just completely dismantle a defense in seconds by himself. Very hard to change gears like that. They're just an incredibly difficult team to defend.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better, and those players just complement each other so well. I see Nick and Tanvir waiting here. I definitely want to bring you guys up on stage soon and hear from you, but I want to finish wrapping up the game tonight. Matthew, what did you see out of Domas tonight? Second straight triple-double. Champion the Kings in the first half of this game, was a little bit in foul trouble, but then able to hand off the keys to De'Aaron Fox to seal the win.
Well, in the pregame, one of the color commentators mentioned something about, Domantas Sabonis, one of the best players in the NBA you've never heard of. And I think that, he really put up not only the numbers, but the effort that was clearly visible to anyone watching, that's exactly who he is. Someone who's not flashy. His game isn't sexy. It's just effort up and down the stretch. And that's exactly the kind of guy that the Sacramento Kings need to go into the postseason. Someone who's not garnering a lot of drama, someone who's not garnering too much attention other than the fact that he's, bringing his lunch pail and his hard hat and he's going to work. I was really honestly impressed. I think Domas put in an above average even for himself first half. I was a little surprised actually to see the Kings take an approach going directly to Domas in the first quarter. It seems the Kings were really in a go to the paint approach in the first half, and that seemed to throw the Knicks for a loop. And they really did make a great adjustment. Credit to the Knicks. They made a great adjustment at the half there. But Domas, I think, put in an above average even for himself effort in the first quarter and in the second quarter as well. And what I appreciate about him is he knows he's a target to draw fouls. He knows that he's in that top category of foul outs. And he knows that not only are referees specifically looking for him because of how many touches he gets, both as a through person, but also as a screener, and he's also a scorer. And so he's got a triple threat of opportunities to foul and be fouled. And so I think tonight, despite the fact, like you said, he ran into some foul trouble, but that didn't scare him away from touching the ball. But again, kind of go into that whole strategy the Kings have been employing tonight, I think was a great example of if you can get Domas 2 really good quarters without getting into foul trouble and you can hand that off to Fox towards the end there, I think it's a strategy that the Kings can employ down the stretch. And hopefully that's not something that's too predictable in the scouting reports that gets picked up in the postseason.
Yeah, hopefully not. It's really hard to hate on a guy like Domas Sabonis. He just has really, I think gotten close to the hearts of many Kings fans with, the way that he plays, obviously the team winning games, but how the guy is, not a distraction off the court. He's so selfless. He helps everybody improve around him. And he's just played incredibly well. And it goes back to when Calvin and I were in Sacramento during the trade deadline last year. Sabonis gets traded. The team shows up that night and is ready to play the very, very next game. Calvin, do you think there will be a point in time where Kings fans love Domas Sabonis more than Chris Webber?
Oh, wow. Possibly. I mean, it all depends on how this team handles the postseason, right?
Yeah.
If they make a run at potentially a title, whether it's this year or in the future, and Sabonis, gets re-signed and is a big part of lots of playoff wins and many winning seasons, just like Weber, there's a generation of Kings fans watching who maybe never even saw Chris Webber play. So, yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, it could definitely be interesting. I love Domas Sabonis. I'm really, really happy to have him on this basketball team. And it just reminds me, Calvin, seeing the trade talk and all this stuff about what happened and how this was malpractice by the Sacramento Kings and the NBA should have stepped in, just goes to show how little these guys, these talking heads, really know about how things work, how things run. I think Monty made the right move, and he identified the guy and he went for it.
Definitely. I mean, I agree with that statement. I also think when you're on those shows and you're, forced to talk about stuff in the moment when it happens, you have to make some sort of opinion and some sort of statement, and it usually can't be a relatively ambiguous one, right? Like, you have to take a pretty strong stand one way or the other.
Yep.
That's how you get the views. That's how you get all the noteworthy things. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But I also think it's funny. I was talking to a coworker today at work, and we were talking about the Kings, and he says to me, and I'm quoting directly, "Have you seen this guy, De'Aaron Fox? He's the next MJ."
Oh, wow.
And I looked at him and I go, "Wow, man, that's amazing." Like,
wow.
I don't know if I would go that far, but he's definitely having a great year.
How old was this person?
He's in his 40s.
Okay, so he's seen MJ.
He has seen MJ. He also didn't know that he thought this was Fox's rookie season. He didn't know that. And so my point is, a lot of these guys that make takes on a team like the Sacramento Kings, I said to this guy at work, I don't blame you, dude, because no one watches the Kings. They're never on TV.
Yeah.
If you follow the NBA even relatively lightly, you should know that De'Aaron Fox has played in the NBA for a little while, I would think.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then all of a sudden you see them one time and you're like, holy shit, this guy is amazing. Where did he come from? All this stuff. So I just going back to making takes so quickly in the moment on things like trades and will it work, will it won't. If you really haven't seen much of what happens, and if you don't even know what the rest of the team is going to look like around the guy at that point, which they brought up multiple times, it's like, man, I can't believe that the Kings were all in on building around Sabonis and it worked. Well, you had no idea what they were going to put around him. You didn't know Mike Brown was going to be the coach. You didn't know they were going to get all these shooters. You didn't know it was going to make De'Aaron Fox an all-star.
Yep.
Like, it's so early to make a claim like that a lot of times you shouldn't really take it seriously anyway.
Yeah, very true. And I think that I heard a lot of the same things when the Warriors traded Monte Ellis for Andrew Bogut, and he basically secured the first championship with them, changing the culture on that roster. But, hey, saying things in the moment is always tough. I say a bunch of stupid shit on this show all the time because I'm emotional. I'm in the middle of the moment, and I have to take a stand on things sometimes. So I definitely feel you there. I was talking
Can I jump in on that?
Yes, please do.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
And then we have to tell Gotham where to get a membership.
Absolutely. I'll be short. To that point, I'll just ask you, who do you think is more naturally recognized, De'Aaron Fox or Trae Young?
Oh, definitely Trae Young.
Who would you rather have on your team right now for the fit for someone who's trying to make a stretch to the playoffs, De'Aaron Fox or Trae Young?
Definitely De'Aaron Fox.
And is that the fact that Trae Young has had more publicity and opportunity to have national cameras and more recognition because of the position that they're in as a franchise, or is it purely the effort of an individual?
Why I would rather have them?
Sorry, why do you think more people would recognize Trae Young over De'Aaron Fox?
It's a couple of things. Atlanta's a bigger market. They've played in the playoffs with him, and Trae Young shoots 40-footers that go in sometimes, which is really sexy, right? Like, that makes highlight reels all the time. De'Aaron Fox doesn't do that. I'm not saying that breaking somebody's ankles and throwing a monster dunk down isn't a highlight reel, but a lot of times De'Aaron just lays it up, right? He makes the smart play. It's not as clickbaity or catchy.
Yeah, and also they pushed hard, dude, on advertising Trae Young when he was in college. Like, he had so many commercials.
That's another good point. De'Aaron
stuff.
Fox didn't have the huge, 40-point games in college either.
Well, didn't he lead the nation in assists and points? Trae Young?
Trae Young,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so they've been talking about him for a long time. But great point, Matthew. I'm taking De'Aaron Fox 10 times out of 10 there. And I think a lot of people agree with me, but maybe they wouldn't have thought that last season or the year before that because things have definitely changed a lot here. But what I was saying, kind of on your point, I was at work today. I had 4 people sitting down at my bar. And I'm like, where are you guys from? And they're like, oh, we're from Sacramento. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And they're like, well, outside Sacramento. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And so I started asking them, like, are you guys Kings fans? And two of them were like, yeah. And the other two were like, yeah, we're Kings fans. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Have you gone to any games this year? And they're like, no. And I'm like, what do you think about De'Aaron Fox? He's playing incredibly well, huh? And they're like, yeah, he's doing all right. And I was like telling them all the stats. I told them about that overtime game against the Clippers. I was like, we're number 2 in the Western Conference. I mean, the Kings should be paying me, Calvin, because by the end of this conversation, all 4 of them were like, we're going to go to a Kings game when we get home. I didn't realize the Kings were playing so good, blah, blah. And I'm like, look up in the sky. Do you see that purple beam?
Then they're going to look at
sky?
how much tickets are, and they're going to be like, oh, man, maybe we won't.
Right.
Won't go
I'm
to
like,
a
look
game.
up in the sky. You see that purple beam up there? Yeah. That's the Kings winning basketball games. And you're going to see it over and over and over again. So I think that goes to show kind of what you were saying, right? People that don't always pay attention, but also just how genius of a marketing tactic that is, to where you need a way to get some of these fans that will say, I mean, dude, I got to give them credit. I asked them, are you Kings fans? And they're like, yeah, we're Kings fans. And they didn't even know the Kings were good. So they're still kind of loyal to their fan base, but they needed to find a way to engage a lot of these people that have been out of the loop for so long, because, of course, it's painful watching your team lose over and over and over again. But, I mean, I got to give a shout-out to the marketing team for the Sacramento Kings. The beam's pretty lit. What do you think, Matthew?
Well, I think the beam is one of the smartest things that the marketing team has put together, because listen, if you're talking about putting a bat signal out there that, like, hey, put it out there, we back up, like, the beam is literally the way. I mean, what a brilliant way to signal to the entire greater Sacramento area that, like, hey, what is this purple laser in the sky? Like, is this something from the Sacramento International Airport? Like, what is this thing about? It's literally a perfect time for the Kings franchise to put the bat signal out there to say, hey, we're back. Like, we're something to be reckoned with. And you mentioned earlier the trade for Domas, and for anyone who was following the Kings in the late 90s, early 2000s, it's easy for us to forget that, getting Chris Webber, there was some animosity over that.
Definitely.
Getting Jason Williams, or trading Jason Williams for Mike Bibby, there was animosity over that. And those were trades that ultimately made the Kings way better. And so in order to make the Kings the run that we all remember from the 90s and early 2000s, there was some animosity in order to get there. And I think this time is no different. And so for the beam to be a part of it, to literally send the bat signal out to everyone who can see it, that, like, hey, we're back. It's time to pay attention. I love it, man. It's both as kitschy and stupid and silly as it is awesome, and I'm so here for it.
Oh yeah, have you picked up a Light to Beam shirt yet, Matthew?
Not yet. I need to. Can you show that out, Calvin? We show everyone at home the Light the Beam shirt.
Yeah, dude, you got to get one of these. And I'm going to give you a little secret here, Matthew. Mondays, we do Merch Mondays, 15% off all merch at RoyalRebounds.com using the coupon code Merch Monday. If you want to pick up a Light the Beam shirt, put a reminder on your phone right now for Monday. But hey,
it's done. It's in the phone right now.
There you go. I love it. Yeah. Shout out to the Beam. I can't wait to see it in real life. Calvin and I were only able to go the first game, which was a loss to the Portland Trailblazers. So I can't wait to see the Beam.
Playoff Beam will be even brighter and even stronger.
Yes.
And more fun.
Yes, it will. Alfie, man, have you been following me around? Because, yes, those people were from Elk Grove. I don't know how you know that. And shout out to Gothan here for joining the Royal family.
I mean, he was always a part of the Royal family, but now everybody else knows.
Now he is official.
Yeah.
He's so official, all he needs is a whistle.
All he needs is a whistle.
All right.
Probably do a lot better than those NBA refs, too.
Yeah, very true. Back to the game tonight. So we talked about Keegan. We talked about Sabonis. Let's talk about Harrison Barnes real quick. 38 minutes of action, 10 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, a steal. Not a real flashy game tonight. Missed all three of his 3-point attempts. He'd been playing pretty well offensively the past month, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But, not an exceptional game in terms of what the box score shows for Harrison Barnes tonight. But what did you think he brought out there on the court?
Well, just like we talk a lot about Davion and how the box score doesn't always show how good he was and what he brought to the game and how much impact he had on winning, Harrison Barnes had a really tough matchup defensively tonight with Julius Randle, and he did a great job on him from the beginning to the end. He was the guy on him when Julius Randle tried to break him down off the dribble at the end of the game, ends up kicking the ball right to Sacramento. Not that Harrison Barnes' defense was overly good on that particular play, but it was just the culmination or the cherry on top of the game that he had guarding Randle, who is a difficult matchup for somebody of Barnes' size, especially in the post. But the Kings did a great job of giving Barnes help, and he also had some really, really good one-on-one possession defense against Randle. That took up the most of his job priorities for this game tonight. Of course, you would have loved for him to hit all 3 of the threes, but in the end, they didn't need him to score. They just needed the defensive effort, the solid defensive effort that he gave them.
Yep. Shout out to Fred Dixon. Have a good night, Fred. Gothen, have a good night. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Hopefully, we'll see you all on Saturday for postgame after the Phoenix Suns. I want to cruise through a couple more things here. Kevin Huerter. 6 of 12 from the field, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Kevin's been playing much better after kind of getting out of that shooting slump. I mean, 2 for 7 from three-point range. Not exactly what we want to see from him, but one of those threes was really important late in the game.
Yep.
Kevin Huerter.
Still shooting over 50% in the month of March from 3.
Yeah.
So he's definitely trending upward.
I love me some Kevin Huerter, and I think there's a lot of things. Yes, he does get targeted on defense, stuff like that. We saw him causing some turnovers tonight. He's very active with his hands. He jumps in passing lanes, gets deflections, stuff like that. He tries, which I think is one of the most important things. But, give me your thoughts on Kevin Huerter.
Well, I mean, yeah, we've been critical of Kevin's defense, but when we're critical, it's of his on-ball one-on-one defense, and also critical of the fact that sometimes he just gets put in bad positions defensively because he's guarding somebody that he shouldn't be. They could switch him off of it. In my personal opinion, I'm going to trust what Mike Brown and Jordy Fernandez do down the stretch, but I think that in some of those situations they could switch him off to another defender, from possession to possession. However, all that said, he is really good at helping on defense. Yep. He plays passing lanes very well. He's always getting his hands on deflections on balls. And today he was one of the main guys that they doubled Randle with when Barnes was guarding him in the high post. He's really good at recovering. He does get beat sometimes, but he's really good at recovering out to the three-point line. And he's got long arms, so he's able to stay in the passing lanes a lot and cause a lot of deflections or get some steals. So he was really, really good on that tonight. I thought his help defense, doubling Randle, was also really good from the wing position. Mm-hmm. Overall, I think he played a very good game.
Yeah, shout out to Ryan for just joining in here, and also King Edward, shout out to you. I think a lot of people, they fail to see that it's not always what Kevin Huerter is doing at a certain time in the game, but it's just having him out there. Having great shooters makes the game easier for other players.
Definitely.
Even when those shooters aren't making shots. I mean, you could see a huge difference, and I hate to keep knocking on a guy like Ben Simmons, but I'm just using him in this example. Calvin, don't hate me. You put a guy out there like Ben Simmons, you put a guy out there like Russell Westbrook, and the defense just sags off of the guy. It clogs the lane. It makes it so much harder on other players. Versus you put a guy like Kevin Huerter out there, they have to guard him, dude. They have to guard him at the three-point line. So even if he's not making shots, even if he doesn't have the ball, Calvin, he makes it easier for a lot of other players on the court. And I think that's something that's really, really understated, and something that a lot of people, maybe not that they don't understand, but they don't really realize how important a guy like that, a shooter like that, can be to just space the floor and allow Domas to get triple doubles because he can hit a rolling Kevin Huerter in the corner for a three. He can work inside. He can create lanes for De'Aaron Fox. So I think that we talked about the acquisition of Mike Brown this offseason. You know, they want to talk about the trade for Sabonis, but bringing in a guy like Kevin Huerter was absolutely huge for this basketball team, and not only just the things he does for himself.
Definitely. And I think that's a perfect example of what we were talking about earlier with how they built this team around Fox and Sabonis after the Sabonis trade, right? It's not just Kevin Huerter. They have to guard Keegan Murray.
Yep.
They have to guard Harrison Barnes. They have to guard Malik Monk. They have to guard Trey Lyles out there too. Even Davion is not a guy that you just leave wide open, even though some people might think you can.
Yeah, not a Ben Simmons open.
Not a Ben Simmons wide open. It's everybody that they've put around these two guys. They complement each other so well. It's not just the three-point shot. It's the two-man game, running those dribble handoffs, Sabonis rolling or rim running. Monk and Huerter have been really, really good at finding him. That's a really tough thing to defend as well because of those guys' ability to drive, to shoot, and to pass.
Yep.
It's a total team combination at this point.
Yeah, and as Afghan says here in the chat, Malik Monk can shoot them too.
Absolutely.
Trey Lyles can shoot them too.
Absolutely.
They're knocking down shots and making things a lot easier.
Terrence Davis, and the list goes on.
Yep, some of these other players. Matthew, I want to hear from you. What's your favorite Kevin Huerter nickname?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, Kevin Huerter nickname. I mean, there's Red Velvet, which I think is, you know, the one that we've, you know, all become accustomed to. I can't think of, you know, what other nicknames are we talking about here? You know, do we what else are you give me four and we will. Who wants to be a millionaire? And I will pick the best one.
Well, Barry has started to introduce the Red Ranger. He likes the
Red Ranger.
I like the Red Ranger.
There's Kayvon.
I heard Elizabeth was pushing, I believe it was Ron Threesley.
Yeah, Ron Threesley. That's pretty funny. Very unique, original.
And then early on in the season, we were calling him James Ham Jr.
James Ham Jr. I see that 100%. I boost that all the way. Well, okay. So first of all, macro comment here. I think it's worth saying for everyone watching on YouTube, everyone listening on Twitter, to both of you, but especially you, Calvin. I really appreciate how you're a student of the game and you really extrapolate so much of the, you know, the kind of inside jargon stuff and really communicate that to a broad audience. So both of you guys, but especially you, Calvin, you do a great job of doing that. And I appreciate your comments of what you're saying about Kevin Huerter earlier. As really doing a good job on the help defense. I think using the Red Ranger is a great nickname for when he is on his defensive game because he's stepping in there and he's sharp shooting those passing lanes. Especially tonight, I think that his D was above average. Are you guys seeing it differently than I am, or am I just kind of looking at this with purple tinted glasses? I feel like Kevin's defense has really improved over the last even half dozen games, specifically off the help defense, specifically inside the passing lane. Are you guys seeing the same thing I am, or am I just kind of inserting my own dogma in there?
I mean, I think that his hand is feeling a little bit better. I noticed right around the All-Star break and maybe after the All-Star break, he seemed to be in so much pain with that right hand, and I don't know if that affected him maybe trying to get in some of those passing lanes, stick his hand out there to stop a ball that's being rocketed across the court. But I agree with you. I've seen some improvements. What do you think, Calvin?
I've seen that all year long from him. I think that it's matchup dependent. He struggles a lot when they play teams that have a ton of wings who put pressure on defenses because they can shoot and drive and make
Anthony
plays.
Edwards.
Like the T-Wolves, for example. The Grizzlies are a really good example of that because a lot of times he ends up on somebody like Desmond Bane. The Thunder have hurt them over and over again in that situation. Jalen Williams, they got a ton of wings out there. The Knicks are a better matchup for that reason, because while Quentin Grimes is a good young player, pretty good shooter as we saw tonight, and can still put the ball on the floor, they run so much offense through other guys, and they don't move without the ball as much as some of these other teams do. So that allows, I think, Kevin Huerter to really capitalize on those off-ball moments where he can cheat a little bit more, he can help a little bit more, he can double, and not have to worry as much about the recovery and getting beat or having to play as much one-on-one defense against a really top elite wing.
Yeah. I want to get to some of these nicknames we see here in the chat.
There's some good ones, man.
There's some good ones. Really, really good ones. You want to read your favorites?
I think my two favorites that stand out right now, I like that one too. This is hard.
You can read them all.
Well, first of all, Ryan, the big hurt, I'm sorry, is taken. Frank Thomas has been the big hurt for decades.
It's easy.
It's easy. Just send a text. So I don't think we can give that one out, even though it is good. Sacramento's Most Wanted, Alfie Man, fantastic. Red Hot Chili Herder, I haven't heard that one before. I like that as well.
I like
Red
that.
Dead Revolver is a phenomenal one.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, that's a great one. Is that Ryan?
Yeah.
Dude, Ryan's killing it.
Yes. Official nickname suggester, I think, of the channel.
Yeah. What about Red Alert?
I like Red Alert.
Code Red?
Code Red, maybe? There's so many.
Like the Mountain
There's so
Dew?
many.
Code Red?
Red Dead Revolver, I think, might be, it's growing on me very quickly.
Red
like
Dead
that one.
Revolver. I like that one a lot. What do you think, Matthew?
I like big red. Like I said in the comments. I mean, I used to eat, a whole pack of Big Red on road trips with my family. We used to, just pass around the pack of Big Red, and by the time it got to me, it was all gone. The problem with that is
kind of guy.
100%. Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, 3/4 of a pack of Big Red, good road trip.
What is that? Talladega Nights?
Yeah.
I
think so, right?
If you don't like Big Red, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's right, 100%. Gentlemen, I do have to sign off. I do have to sign off here, and there's lots of people who are behind me, so I'll let them come in behind me. So thank you guys for letting me come on. It was a lot of fun for me.
Dude, Matthew, thank you so much. We appreciate you. You're awesome.
Thank you guys so much. Cheers. Light the beam, y'all.
Glad that you're back. Hopefully we'll see you again on Saturday.
Yeah, come join us again
Thank
soon.
you, Cal. All right. Thank you, Barry. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Bill says, no imagination on my handle. Hey, we don't all have it. We don't all have it, Bill.
That's true. I'm not a nickname guy at all.
You're a nickname guy. You're just not a nickname creator guy.
I'm not a nickname creator guy.
See, I'm not even good at it either.
No, you're good at it. You got plenty of. And shout out to Nicole, by the way. Thank you. That means a lot. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. We appreciate it. And, hey, we want everyone to succeed on this channel. That's why we have, if you look in the description of this video, we have links to every single Sacramento Kings YouTube channel because we want to provide you guys the most value possible. And every single person deserves to watch as much Kings coverage as they want because we've been forgotten for way, way too long.
That's right. Soak it up.
Bill says Bill
like
is
Maui
his
Sunshine.
nickname.
Yeah, William. Bill.
Yeah.
Is the nickname.
That's interesting. I have a friend named Bobby, and his birth certificate
Not Ricky
says Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
Not Rob.
Or Ricky Bobby.
Or Robert. Yeah, weird. Because at first, I wanted to call him Bobbert, but then he's like, no, my name is Bobby. And I'm like, let me see your birth certificate. Sure enough, Bobby.
Hey.
Is that ghetto?
Is that ghetto?
Yeah.
Why would that be ghetto?
Like imagine Bill's birth certificate said Bill.
That makes you ghetto? If your name says on your birth certificate what it is?
No. Like, not the official name.
I don't think that makes you ghetto. But
maybe ghetto is not the right word. Yeah. I don't know what I'm looking for. Somebody help. Yeah.
Trailer park. Oh, okay. There you go.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, like Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. What were we talking about again?
I have no idea.
Okay.
We beat the pants off the pants.
Yeah. I definitely want to hear from Nick here and also from Tanvir. But real quick, Calvin, anything else you wanted to say about De'Aaron Fox? We didn't really talk about him too much. We did at the beginning of the show tonight. But give me your thoughts on De'Aaron Fox if you have any more. I mean, I can't stop praising this guy. I could talk about him for an hour.
Yeah, I agree. Just like Sabonis, it's almost impossible to say anything else good about him. Those two vicious dunks in this game today were amazing to watch. He just is so fun to watch once he really gets going, once he really lets it loose. The handles are so tight. I don't know how they made this comment today that Josh Hart just has it's a really difficult matchup for him because he's a guard or he's a forward and he can't stay with a point guard like De'Aaron Fox. Most point guards can't stay with De'Aaron Fox. So it's not a Josh Hart problem. It's just a person problem. Like there's nobody that can stay with that guy. He is that good. And he's totally, at this point in his career, this point in the season, I think he is so confident in his ability that there's just no stopping him at this point.
Dude, I can't get over Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah, it's a great one.
That's great. I mean, are you sure that nickname's not taken already?
Well, it's the name of a video game.
I thought it was Red Dead Redemption.
I think there's Red Dead Revolver also, isn't there?
Oh, I don't know. I was thinking
maybe I'm thinking of Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I thought maybe Ja tried to take that nickname already. Oh, too soon. All right, let's hear from Tanvir. What's up, Tanvir? How are you, buddy?
Oh, wow, Calvin, that's an
Barry, what's up, my guy? How's it going, man?
Bro, can you get a little bit closer to your microphone? I can't hear you too well, Tanvir.
Can you hear me now?
That's much better.
Yes.
How we doing tonight, bro?
Feeling great. Feeling great, dude. Second in the West. I mean,
oh yeah.
I'm feeling
only gonna
incredible,
get better, bro.
dude. The Pelicans were second in the West, and then they fumbled the bag.
Oh yeah. Zion Williamson just eating gumbo at the sidelines, bro.
You're going in and out, bro.
I said Zion out there eating gumbo out there, bro.
Oh yeah, too much gumbo.
Yes,
too much gumbo for Zion. But Tanvir, I mean, give me your thoughts on the game tonight, bro.
Hey man, the game was amazing. Gotta give your hats off to the Knicks, man. Got all them rebounds. That was kind of frustrating. Shout out to Josh Hart. He played well also, man. Gotta give your hats off to him too, man.
For real, those rebounds, especially that one possession, was so frustrating. Where Calvin, you counted 5 offensive rebounds?
I think it was 5. Yeah,
that was so frustrating. I felt like I was watching Kings basketball from last year or the year before that in that one possession. Then I was like, okay, deep breath. I looked at the standings. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit better, but we need to win this effing game, dude.
It looked like a Harlem Globetrotter possession against the Washington Generals, where you're just like, okay, this is kind of old now. You can just score already.
I can hear the music now. Man, that is absolutely ridiculous. Tanvir, what's your favorite Kevin Huerter nickname?
Hey, man, that Red Dead Revolver, man, that sounds just right, man.
That's fire, right?
Dude, I think that one is the winner.
Man. That hits different. I like it.
Sounds good. Rolling off the
sounds good, man.
Revolver.
Just like the ball looks good rolling off his hands. Red Dead Revolver.
Oh,
Bang.
yeah.
Bang.
Yeah.
I'm going to Google this. Is this a video game, Calvin?
Oh, dude, they already answered our question.
What?
Thank you, Afghanistan baby. Oh yeah, Red Dead Revolver was the OG on Xbox, on PS2, and one of them was the OG on PS2. I'm not sure, but yes, it was a game.
Whoa, this guy!
There you go.
Yeah,
Red
the
Dead
guy on the
Revolver.
cover kind of looks like Kevin Huerter.
No, he doesn't.
I know, dude. I was trying to get them all to look it up, dude. Jeez, ruined it.
Oh man,
ruined it. Tanvir.
Yo.
I'm kind of on a nickname kick right now.
Hey, man. Do your thing, man.
I mean, do you have a favorite nickname on the Kings?
Not really. I like all the nicknames, man. Whenever people come up with it, pretty pretty cool, man.
Man, that was your chance to go with Saboner, dude.
Dude, are you running right now, Tanvir?
You like that, but it's all right.
Are you running right now?
What's that?
Are you running?
No, I'm not running.
I keep hearing your phone making all sorts of crazy noises, and you keep getting like
It's just
further
windy out
away
here,
and
bro.
closer.
Are you
I'm
working?
at work.
Are you at work right now?
I'm working out here.
Yeah. See, he's working hard, man.
He's working hard, dude. You try not to get busted?
Yep.
Okay. I see it.
Yep.
Well, dude, we appreciate you as always for joining in on the show, man. You were one of our very, very first viewers, and we'll always cherish that. But give me your thoughts on Saturday's game against the Suns, and then we'll get you out of here before you get in trouble.
It's all good. So for that game against Phoenix Suns, yeah, that's going to be a tough one. They still have Devin Booker. Even though KD rolled his ankle and is now out, to give us a little better chance, I believe we'll win that game. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one.
Dude, that ankle rolling video by Katie is crazy, dude. Like, it looks so painful.
Yeah.
It did not look fun
100%.
at all.
It's bad, dude. If I'm a Phoenix fan, I'm like, wait, this is the guy that's supposed to win it all for us? He can't even practice.
I can just see the video edits now of that video of him from the Warriors coming out of the tunnel where he's like doing the dance and he's crossing his legs up all crazy.
gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Right before he went out and officially tore his Achilles.
Yeah. I honestly thought that KD's most fragile part of his body was his ego, but I found out it was his ankle.
It's his ankle, bro. It's his ankle. He can't stay
That's
healthy.
wild. That's wild. All right, Tanvir, appreciate you, buddy. We'll see you on Saturday.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm bringing up Nick next, Calvin. And while I do that,
Nick.
I'm muting on Twitter Spaces, so he can't hear us right now. What do you think the first word he says is?
The first word?
Yeah.
Or the first sentence?
First word that he says.
First word is I.
Hey, can you help me roll rebounds?
Well, apparently it was hey.
Yeah,
but
we can hear you, Nick.
How are you doing today?
Didn't have how on the bingo
I'm doing
card.
fantastic, Nick. I
Fire
had
the
a
laser.
great day hanging on a rooftop. It was nice and sunny. It was about 70, what was it, 77 today or something like that?
It was a beautiful day, and I know it sounds cheap for us to say that in Maui, but we've had some pretty bad weather over the past couple of weeks.
Dude, I watched a sailboat sink today right in front of me.
That's something you don't see every day.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible to watch. I was like pointing out to everybody, I'm like, look at that sailboat over there. There it goes.
The seas are still a little rough.
And it was
out
just
here.
slowly going down, and then now all you could see is the mast hanging up.
Lots of Coronas being drank, but no
Oh,
calm
God.
seas.
Yeah.
We got some rain, so hey, fire the laser.
Fire the laser.
Oh, wrong one.
Fire the laser!
You
He
can
loves the
see
fire
that
the
Who
laser.
doesn't
purple
love fire the laser?
that purple beam is lit
Oh, dude, it's so
inside
lit.
your studio.
I wish I was that lit, Nick.
Hey, are you beaming right now?
Oh, I'm beaming.
Beaming big
I'm
time.
so beaming. Oh, dude,
All
what
right.
about Red October?
Yeah, he did have a very good October also.
Yeah.
Did play very well.
Nick,
We're gonna
But that's
have
tough
to.
because we want him to be good all months of the year.
Nick, what's
And
your
yes, that was
what's
the
your
submarine movie.
favorite nickname for a Sacramento Kings player?
I have
And don't
no-
say pizza guy.
Round table.
Oh, we just went straight into favorite pizza.
No, Nick. What's your favorite Kings player nickname? Is that a better way to put it?
Oh boy. I think it's got to be. Boy.
You gonna throw some out there for him, Calvin? Throw him a fly
We
ball.
got Bill says Swipe of the Fox, of course, classic. There's the Ox. There's the Black Falcon. There's any of the 4,500 ones that we've just suggested for Kevin Herter, like Red Dead Revolver, Threegan Murray.
Probably
White Chocolate. I mean, if we're going back in the day, too, that's a pretty good one.
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes was a good one.
Swipe of the Fox.
Swipe of the Fox?
Okay, I'll give you that one. That's a pretty good nickname.
Malik Monk, God of Dunk. I don't know if I've heard that one before.
Can
That's
you
pretty good.
use somebody's name in their nickname?
Sure, why
like
not?
Swipe of the Fox and his name is Fox?
Yeah.
That's allowed?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know the nickname rules. I was just checking.
I don't see why not.
I'll be...
who's Alfie Man, who is Mount Sack? I've never heard that one before either. Is that like Alex Len or somebody?
You don't see why not. You don't see why not win. Why not win on Saturday?
Why
not like the Beam?
Nick, let's talk about pizza for a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because I feel like
top bunk Malik Monk.
Dude, I like that one.
That's a good one too.
I
Man,
like
you
that
guys
one
are
a
incredible.
lot. But she
So
used
was
his
there
whole name
Fox
in the
in the
nickname.
chat?
So what?
That's
It's
allowed?
great.
Okay,
I love it.
I guess that's allowed.
I love it.
Anyways, Nick.
So was Fox in the chat tonight?
Yep, he was here.
Yeah, he's always on your chat.
Yeah, you know who else was in the chat tonight?
Who?
LeBron James.
Really?
Yeah, I put him on timeout.
He was pretty upset.
Wow.
Yeah. But Nick, back to pizza, because I know you love it. But I'm a little disappointed in you, man. I mean, you came on the show on Monday, and you're like, oh, my doctor said this and that. And, you made us feel really bad. And then now you're just, like, eating pizza again. And it's like, dude, we canceled the pizza eating contest based on our conversation on Monday, and now you're back on the wagon? Or off the
Is it off the wagon or on the wagon?
Are you on the wagon or off the wagon, Nick?
I think I'll be on the rag. I think I'll be on the wagon.
Okay.
So the pizza eating contest is back on, is what
Back
you're saying?
on.
Yes.
Oh, all right. We need more cowbell for that.
Man, Nick solved it all in 2 days. That's way too loud. Holy
Hey,
shit.
fire the laser. We need to light the purple beam. It's lit right now. And the Kings are going to Phoenix on Saturday, and we need to win on Saturday. And we play Milwaukee on Monday. That's going to be hard to beat Milwaukee. It's going to be a tough.
Yeah, that's a big game.
Nick, give me
Those are both big games.
give me your prediction for Saturday's game against the Suns, and then I want to go to Ty because I haven't got to talk to Ty for a little while.
One.
Red Panda.
Gosh. Hey, Ty, what do you think?
Isn't that taken already?
Yeah, Red Panda is the greatest halftime show of all time.
I have,
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, come on, Nick. You got this, man.
Calvin, do I have this?
You got it. 114.99, right?
Yeah, I think that should be right.
There you go.
Okay, so you're just gonna give him the answer on the test, just giving it away.
Yeah,
huh?
that's right.
That's what he usually goes
I
with.
agree.
Well,
I
it used
think
to be
that should
140 to 99, but for some reason it's come way down recently.
Yeah. I think it depends on how much pizza he's had. If he's on his
Probably.
pizza high, he's like
Probably.
140 points. I get it. I feel the same way.
It's true. Only one pizza tonight, right, Nick?
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one. Man, you got some work to do to get 102 for that contest.
One slice or
Yeah.
one whole pizza?
Yeah, are you going to come to, okay. Well, are you going to come to the playoffs?
Oh, yeah, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
Weren't you at the game at the Portland game?
Yeah.
Yes, we were at that game.
You guys were at the Portland. Did you guys stay in the hotel?
Yes, we did.
Did we stay in a
did we?
hotel?
I don't even remember. I don't think so, actually.
I could have seen you
You guys
guys.
didn't, I did.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
we
I stayed in a-
stayed at my parents' house.
Yeah. Yeah, I stayed at a hotel for the first night, and then I stayed at my mom's house the next couple nights.
Wait, you two are brothers?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, you guys should have got me pizza that day.
You are supposed to get us pizza, I thought. Thought that was the deal.
Oh. So, your parents live in Sacramento?
I see what he's doing here, Calvin. He's like,
deflecting.
He's deflecting. That's exactly what he's doing. He's like, I'm supposed to buy you pizza? I'm going to change the subject.
Oh, yeah. How could we forget about Red Mamba?
He knows these techniques. You see how he's like, I'm going to make it about them. And then he just is like, oh, what about your parents? I'm on to you, Nick.
Yeah.
Or should I say, Slamson? Now he's all quiet. All right, Nick.
Yeah.
So you're buying us pizza in next month, right?
Yeah.
Yes?
There you go. We've got 42 witnesses.
Okay.
Or 41, I guess.
All right, Nick. Well, I'm going to go over to Ty. You got any last words?
Well, I'm going to say sleep beams.
Sleep beams.
Sleep beams. He's been waiting to say that. All right, Nick. Love you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Ty is in the MFing building. Damn, Ty, I haven't talked to you for a while, man. How are you feeling?
What's good, guys? Yeah, nah. I've been good. How are y'all?
Good, man.
Doing good, man.
Doing great.
Good to talk to you. I was wondering if I was going to see you, or if we were going to see you make an appearance after that Pelicans game.
Oh, no, I did. Something happened that day between me and someone, and then it completely killed my mood, so I just didn't watch the game whatsoever. And it was the right decision, because we ended up getting our ass kicked, so probably for the best.
Oh, there you go. They responded nicely against Dallas, though.
What was that, sorry?
I said they responded nicely against Dallas.
Well, I wanted to lose that game, ironically, because of when I saw Ingram get hurt, I said it during the halftime space. I was like, now that Ingram's hurt, I want CJ McCollum to fake an injury and let's just tank. The Lakers aren't going to make the playoffs. We aren't going to make the playoffs. We have two chances because of the pick swap to go get a top 5 pick. We then flip that pick, and then some of our young guys go get a third star. Simple as that. But nope,
that's fair.
These people want to win. They want to win when we're not supposed to win. Make sense.
Oh,
I don't know, man. The Kings have been trying to win for 16 years.
No, actually,
I don't know what's worse, the fact that we don't know how to not try to win, or the fact that we've been trying to win this whole time.
I think it's a mixture of both. I'm not gonna lie. I think this person's bad.
No, but for real, Ty, how are you feeling about the Kings, man? It's been a while since we talked, and the Kings have been playing pretty well. I look at everything through my purple glasses, right? I think the Kings are the greatest team to ever touch the court. Obviously, that's not true. Bring me back down to reality, but make it sound good.
No all right. Yeah, no pressure at all. Right. Y'all have been good. It's practically the same thing. Nothing's changed. And so I don't know if you guys know what a community is on Twitter. It's kind of like, I don't know how to really explain it, but this thing called a community, right? And someone tweeted, it doesn't matter what you do, the Kings are just simply going to outscore you. And that's very funny, because that's what it generally feels like. Is you can throw a counter, you throw another counter, you throw another counter, and all of a sudden the Kings just come in waves, free the Aaron Fox mid-range, you know what I mean, and one, and then it's like, you caught a deficit, let's say they're down by 15, so like 5, all of a sudden they're back up by 18. It's ridiculous on how easily the Kings can score. I don't mean this in a disrespectful manner. It's not the most talented roster in the NBA. It's not even close, but because of how good Mike Brown has coached them and he has the right personnel, it's really worked. And someone who I've been really getting behind lately is Trey Lyles. I guess I kind of flint. Chimezie Metu sucks, I'm sorry. He fucking stinks. and I don't think he should play anymore generally. Trey Lyles should just be the backup 5 for the rest of the season. He plays better in that role. It provides more spacing. He does what Chimezie Metu does better, which doesn't make sense because they're different players, but it just works better. And I'm very intrigued. I'm very interested to see how they do in the playoff series too, because it doesn't matter how fast your team is. It's proven over and over again. Once it comes playoff time, that game slows down. Look at Phoenix, 7 seconds or less. Yes, they had Mike D'Antoni, and they had one of the greatest playmakers of all time. Guess what? That game still slowed down because that's just the way the playoffs work. So I think that's just my input and where I'm at with the Kings at this point, is just how will they work in the playoffs? Because you guys are going to make it. It doesn't matter if you lose every game from now on. I think you would still make it, right?
I don't want to jinx them, but I
that's not going to happen.
But I think that was a great point that you made, right, is the fact that the Kings don't have the best roster on paper, yet they're still able to compete and win a lot of these games. Lee Adams brings up here in the chat, the Kings are 7-1 since the break. Can the Kings get to 50 wins? When the break happened, when the trade deadline happened, and the Kings didn't make a big move, not everybody, a lot of Kings fans were really negative, and they were like, oh, all these other teams got better, we didn't. What's going on? We shouldn't have made a move. I even saw people saying, fire Monty. The guy got his new contract and just let it slide. And I was tweeting. I mean, you could look at the receipts. I said, I expect the Kings to win a bunch of games here because they're one of the teams that has the best chemistry in the NBA, and they didn't mess with that. Wow. Phoenix got better by adding in KD. They don't have chemistry. KD's not even available right now. And same goes for a lot of the other teams too. Yes, the health has been on the side of the Sacramento Kings, but I think you nailed it, right? They don't have the best roster on paper, but the coaching and the chemistry has really helped elevate this roster.
No, yeah, and at first, I wasn't all for Mike Brown as coach of the year. And I didn't really have a particular reasoning. I just, it didn't sound right. This is, very early in the season, 20 games in. But I don't think there is anyone who has a stronger case than Mike Brown. He literally flipped the team from being respectfully a poverty-ass franchise to now one of the funnest, let me reiterate, the funnest team to watch in the league. There might be more talented players. Yeah, you go to Phoenix, you can watch, 4 of the best players just light you up from mid-range, but they don't really move the ball that much. You can watch Luka and Kyrie cross everyone up, but they don't move the ball much. You can get literally a bit of everything when you watch the Sacramento Kings outside of defense. They don't do that whatsoever. If you want defense, go watch someone else.
Yeah, definitely no secret there.
Yeah, the funny thing is, all of us in the Kings community have just felt like the ESPNs, the NBAs of the world have just hated this Kings and not like the Kings, right? Because small market teams winning is not good for the NBA. But you look at the way the game has evolved over the past 10 or 15 years, the NBA wants high-scoring games. They want exciting, high-scoring basketball games that are fun to watch. And guess what? The Kings are the highest-scoring team in the league. They're the funnest team to watch in the league. We saw the second nationally televised game of the year tonight. The Kings are 2-0 in those games. Calvin mentioned they're 4-0 in overtime games this season. I mean, what else do the Kings have to do to get some love here, Ty?
Well, okay. Let me simply put it like this. Is we kind of went for a similar thing last year in the sense where obviously we weren't winning nowhere near as much games as you guys, right? But we were starting to really win. We were starting to turn around like how you guys have turned it around. We didn't get that respect until once the playoffs actually happened. No one respected Brandon Ingram. They hated him, the C.J. McCollum trade literally from the jump. They said it was a waste of C.J. McCollum's career. And then as soon as we actually made the playoffs, they're like, this team has a lot of, a bright future. Zion comes back. And I feel like that's kind of similar with Sacramento, is they won't get their respect until they actually play in the playoffs. It's unfortunate, but it's just the truth. If De'Aaron Fox goes off, he's going to go from no one really talks about him to now being one of the most talked about players in the entire NBA very quickly. That's just the way it works. Because people are they're casual. Let's just keep it a buck. They're just casuals. So they didn't really watch regular season games like that. They're like, why would I watch Sacramento? Because of the stigma of the Kings, right? But when they're forced to watch it because what? There's 8 games to watch in the playoffs. They're gonna watch back on. Wait, De'Aaron Fox, he's actually good at this thing called basketball, you know?
No, absolutely. I agree. I don't know how long you've been listening for, but Barry and I were both talking about interactions we had with people today who stumbled across the Kings or, had just started watching them recently and said a lot of those things that you just said. Like I talked to a guy at work today who literally told me that De'Aaron Fox is the next MJ. Obviously not true or an exaggeration. We can all agree on that. But I think it just speaks to your point of, like, if you don't watch this team, you just go off of the stereotype of, well, the Kings haven't made the playoffs in 16 years. They suck. They're terrible. This is all a fluke. And now if you actually watch them play, your mind definitely sees that, or you see things and your mind is going to have some different thoughts, different opinions on them. But I agree with you completely. They won't get respect from everyone until they win in the playoffs. The narrative has changed over the course of the season. In the preseason, it was, well, the Kings are still garbage. It's just the preseason. Then the first 20 games, it was, the Kings aren't really that good. They're going to fold down the stretch. There's so many teams that are better than them. Trade deadline, it was, well, everybody else went and got better. The Kings did nothing. They're going to fade away into the darkness. Now it's, oh, well, the Kings can't win in the playoffs because they haven't done it in 16 years. There's always going to be that extra thing that somebody can throw out there because it's the Kings and they haven't been in the postseason. So it won't actually change until we get there. But the good news is it probably will change once they play a couple of playoff games. I want to ask you real quickly, how obviously losing Kevin Durant is a big deal. Do you think that the Suns still have a chance, if KD doesn't play for the rest of the regular season, to overtake Sacramento for the Pacific Division crown? And how do you see this game playing out on Saturday?
Ty, that's you. Oh, he's out of here.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
He got mad.
I'm going to bring Dylan up, hear from him real quick, and then I want to talk about the Phoenix Suns. We had a great question here in the chat by Callum, a member of the royal family. You wanna cover that, Cal?
Is De'Aaron Fox a better player than Baron Davis? Is that the question you're asking about? That is that's a very interesting one. Baron Davis was a really, really tremendous player. I think Fox has the potential to be a better defender overall than Baron. But Baron was a much better outside shooter. Still a crazy freak athlete getting to the rim. That's a good question. I'm not really sure at this point.
I forgot how good of a player Baron Davis is. I'm looking over his stats here. I remember, he was incredible to watch with the Golden State Warriors. Then you had the years before that with the Clippers. Unfortunate how his career ended.
And just like Fox, Baron played on a lot of pretty poor teams throughout the course of his career. So even though he was a fantastic player, he probably didn't get a lot of the recognition that he deserved, just like Fox maybe did early in his career for the last 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
How even though he was improving his game, the team still wasn't winning games, and so it was this notion of, well, he's not that good, he can't lead a team, all this stuff. I think Baron Davis gets a lot of that as well, and Baron Davis played for a long time too.
Yeah.
So Fox
There's a
still
lot
has
of
a
players
long way to
like
go
that
to
though.
match
That's the
that.
thing.
I think De'Aaron Fox physically has the potential to be a much better player than Baron Davis, physically wise. But hey, I want to say what's up here to Dylan real quick, and then we got to talk about the Suns game on Saturday, and then we're going to wrap up the show. So, Dylan, what is up?
Hey, what's up, man? I've been doing all right. What have you been up to?
Just watching some Kings wins, man.
Yeah, I was watching the game tonight. Honestly, I liked what I saw. even though for me, I did need the Knicks to win, but I think both teams played really well this game. I think Josh Hart really well hustling in the fourth. I think that was what made the difference at the end. But the Kings did wake up and not let the Knicks win the game.
Yeah, I mean, the Kings have definitely been that fourth quarter team. I mean, the clutch award, we talked about that. De'Aaron Fox has been one of the most clutch players in the NBA. So they were definitely able to kind of seal it there at the win. At the end, we talk about, you know, how this team is great in pressure situations. They're 4-0 in overtime games. They're 2-0 in nationally televised games. They got what was the offensive and defensive ratings, Calvin, of the team in the fourth quarter?
Well, offense, they've got to be 1 or 2, but defensively, I think they were 7th or 8th in defensive rating, and they were 2nd in the NBA in net differential.
Yeah, so they really play exceptionally well at the end of the game. But Dylan, I know you're a Clippers fan. I just want to ask you real quick, you know, what were your thoughts on that double overtime game, 175-176? Unfortunately for you, the Clippers lost, but it was a hell of a game to watch.
Hey, so I was actually at that game, and I was very lucky to say that I got $13 tickets in the very first row of the 200 section. So I was really happy to be at that game. Unfortunately, turnovers really killed us and clutch offense, which I think both of those have been a huge problem all year. I think we didn't really play defense that game as well. But I just think the Clippers need to start taking the clutch a bit more seriously. And like it can really come to bite us back in the playoffs if we don't start moving the ball more as well. Because we rely too much on jump shots, and even Paul George said that last night. But as of for the Kings game, I think they did really well. They took advantage of our turnovers. They took advantage of the shots that we missed in our bad possessions. I think that's ultimately why the Kings came out victory over us, and that's how we blew 3 leads.
Yeah, it was a hell of a game, man. I'm jealous that you were at that game.
Yeah, seriously, you were a part of history.
Yeah, definitely a huge moment in history. Hey, Dylan, we appreciate you for joining us tonight. We're about to wrap up the show. Can I get some final closing thoughts from you on the Phoenix Suns, the acquisition of Kevin Durant, the current injury, and where you think they're at in the Western Conference?
Yeah, for me, I was in a Twitter space while the KD trade went down, and we were all going crazy. But as of my thoughts on the KD trade, I don't know what's up with KD. He always needs a super team, and it's been showing his whole career. So I think if KD wins the title, it's really not going to mean much for him. But I will be happy for Chris Paul. But I think even though KD's out, the Suns are going to have to – they're going to need Devin Booker to step up. Chris Paul, Ayton to play well again. So if KD could quickly ramp it up and get back in shape for the playoffs, I think the Suns are probably the favorites to win it all. And they would have been my pick if KD didn't get injured, but now I have the Nuggets winning it all.
How do you feel, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I would say definitely don't sleep on the Nuggets, even with KD. I think that they're definitely ready to challenge for the NBA crown. Even
Phoenix, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Denver.
Oh, okay. Don't sleep on Denver?
Don't sleep on Denver.
Oh, even with KD
even
being
with
in
KD being in Phoenix.
Okay.
I think Denver is that good. Obviously, a healthy Kevin Durant makes the Phoenix Suns title contenders. That's not going to surprise anybody.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see how if he really is out for the remainder or the majority of the rest of the regular season, you know, the Suns are still a very capable team, but now they don't have Kevin Durant, and they traded away Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. So it'll be interesting to see how they finish. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Chris Paul are still a very good trio to have, but it's a tough, wild Western Conference right now. So
have a good night, Lee. Thank you for joining in. Calvin, do you think we'll see Kevin Durant on the Denver Nuggets next year?
Only if they win the title. They have to win, right?
Only if they win the title. Oh, man. Well, hey, Dylan, we appreciate you for joining us via Twitter Spaces. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Dylan.
All right. Thanks,
Light the
buddy.
beam.
Appreciate you. Okay, Calvin, let's wrap up the show tonight.
Got to get a beam dig in there, the Clippers fan.
Let's wrap up the show tonight talking about the game on Saturday. It's a big game. It's a big game, Calvin.
It is.
And I think, I mean, as a Kings fan, are you disappointed that we're not going to see KD playing for the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah, I am a little bit. Shout out to our good buddy Kyle Tadiucci, who's going to be at the game. I was texting him just a couple of days ago, and he was telling me he lives in the Phoenix area. He's going to be at the game on Saturday, big Kings fan. And I was like, man, I'm really jealous. Obviously, it's a big game for both teams, and I've never seen Kevin Durant play. Literally that day or later that day, he goes out and screws his ankle up, and now he's out. So I would say it's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know Kyle is happy that the Kings have a better chance of winning that basketball game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
we all are.
I don't think he's any point disappointed
But
about
if you're
that.
going to be there live, I mean, you know, how many opportunities do you really get to see some of the, you know, the 2 or 3 greatest players in the world?
You know a player that I got to see play in real life?
Kevin Durant.
Oh, I did. But I'm going to say Kawhi Leonard. Probably one of the hardest players to see play in real life because you never know if that MFer is going to play or not, dude. It's probably a 50-50 chance. You buy tickets to the game, 50-50 whether he plays or not. So I got that one, too, to cross off on my list. The funniest thing for me, and I don't like to poke fun at injuries, except when it happens to Kevin Durant, and it's going to help my Kings team. But they labeled it a slip and fall during practice, or during warm-ups, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Because when I heard that, I think of Friday, right, where he's like, you know how much you get for a slip and fall in the store? Oh, man, that was absolutely hilarious. Calvin, give me your keys to the game for the Kings. And did you take into account KD not being available for these keys?
I did not take into account KD being unavailable when I wrote these. I think it still works, though. Number 1 is going to be grease the court during warmups, so we take out the rest of them. Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton mess their ankles up too. Maybe we could get Mike or Kyle, who's going to be at the game, to do it.
Yeah.
You know, they can glue themselves to the floor afterwards in protest.
Or you can glue yourself to KD's ankle.
Or you could do that too. Or Chris Paul's hamstring, maybe. No, but seriously, number 1 is going to be bench scoring. I think that the Kings, when you play a team like Phoenix, who's probably one of the handful of teams out there that can actually keep pace in a shootout, high scoring game with the Kings, you're going to need the bench production. You're going to need this second half of the season wave that we've seen. Trey Lyles to keep stepping up big, Malik Monk to have another big game or big half like he had tonight.
Yep.
Anybody else that you can find, Terrence Davis, Davion Mitchell, they're going to need all they can get from the second unit, especially when you think about the fact that, like you mentioned, Phoenix has lost a lot of depth since that Kevin Durant trade. Now Durant is going to be out, so that loses even more depth. Big opportunity for the Kings bench to take advantage of.
They traded away Jay Crowder too, right?
They bought him out, I think, and then he signed with Milwaukee, but same thing. He didn't play a game for them the entire year.
Yeah, but they didn't get anything in return is what I'm asking.
I don't believe they did. I could be wrong about that.
Sucks for them.
Number 2 is live by the 3, man. Just like tonight's game, I thought it was going to be hard for the Kings to score inside. The Knicks are a very good team at defending the paint. They got a lot of size. The Suns are 7th in the NBA in paint points allowed. So I think Red Dead Revolver, Keegan Murray, Threegan
Murray,
Harrison Barnes, Trey Lyles, those guys are going to have to stay hot from the outside when it comes to being able to put up points on this team. And number 3 is get to the foul line. Phoenix is 25th in the NBA in opponent free throw attempts, so the Kings need to be aggressive. De'Aaron Fox in the fourth quarter getting to the foul line. Sabonis early on getting to the free throw line. This feels like a game where you're going to need all of those extra opportunities, kind of like how we were just talking about a team that can keep pace scoring with them. If you get the extra attempts at the free throw line, if you get some second chance points, if you get some turnovers that lead to fast break points, those extra scoring opportunities or might end up deciding this game.
Yeah. All great, important keys to the game. Looks like the Kings have, 2 games left against Phoenix to end the year. Last time they played Phoenix was on, Tuesday the 14th, Valentine's Day, they lost 120-109. They beat, no. Where am I missing here? Phoenix. They only played them 3 times. I thought they lost both times. They lost back in November 20th as well. Yeah. So these next 2 are going to be really important for seeding potentially. If Phoenix does go on a run here and ties Sacramento, head-to-head record is the first tiebreaker. So the Kings do need to win these next 2 games to tie up this series. And Calvin, both of these games could be potentially without KD. So good news for
definitely
the
helps.
Sacramento Kings.
Definitely helps.
You want to give me a prediction on this game?
It's a tough one to predict. It's a road game. The Kings have been playing so well as of late, but Phoenix has played very, very well lately too. Devin Booker's been on an absolute tear. I realize that it definitely helps when you have one of the greatest scorers of all time on the other side of the court with you, but I'm going to say that the Kings are able to grind this one out. I think that they are just really, really connected right now. The offense is playing at an efficient level. They have been all season long, but it might be the best that it's been at any point this year right now when you take into account everybody. Keegan Murray getting better, Red Dead Revolver coming back, fourth quarter Fox.
You just had to throw that in
there. Of course I did. Triple-double Sabonis has been on a tear as well. So I think it'll be a close game, but I'll say the Kings win 121-117.
Ooh, a close one.
Close game.
Close game. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps up the show tonight. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank Elizabeth and Joseph, Tanvir. We had Dylan, Ty, a lot of wonderful people. Bench Matthew was here. Appreciate you all for joining in via Twitter Spaces. Ryan, Alfie Man, Callum, Nicole, a lot of awesome people here in the chat. Nick, Lee, Sass, great to see you all. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful evening. Dre Lyon is here as well. Please don't forget to smash up that like button. Brian, pick up a Light to Beam shirt on RoyalRebounds.com. Merch Monday is the code on Monday for 15% off of all your favorite gear. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful night. Calvin, 2+ hours tonight for us.
Yeah, we put in work just like the Kings did.
This is overtime.
Seriously.
Overtime. Anyways, thank you guys so much. We will see you all on Saturday. In the meantime, go Kings.